It's definitely an honor and a privilege to be here once again. It's amazing, we've basically completed week 4, and the season is basically flying by. But I tell you, we're fortunate to be 3-1 at this particular time. Our kids are playing extremely hard and doing everything that they can in order to, bring home a victory each and every week. Went down to Mississippi Valley, a very, very tough place to play. The environment is very, very tough. Normally there's a lot of external incentives to play well. Either your own fans are cheering for you, or the enemy is getting on your back. But it was kind of tough for us, because it was basically a tough situation to play in. But our kids played hard. I'm very, very pleased with our performance defensively, other than maybe about 10 plays or so. I thought defensively we were really, really stellar in our approach to the game on Saturday. A little disappointed offensively and also in the special teams game. I think we have to continue to work to get better at those areas. In the red zone, we've been kind of slowing ourselves down, whether it's penalties or whether it's not completing balls or not catching balls or not blocking or what have you. There's enough blame to go around. But I can assure you that our offensive staff is doing everything in their power to make sure that we're continuing to get better offensively. There's a couple guys not in the lineup, but it's a next man up type situation, and we'll definitely continue to work to be the complete package.
You talked about the defense. Obviously, Diamante had a heck of a first half there, and is the SWAC Defensive Player of the Week. So talk a little bit about him.
Well, Diamante is a heck of a young man. He came to us a couple years ago. You can tell that he had a passion for playing the game, and he epitomizes what a G-man is, because he's stellar not only on the field but also in the classroom. But then as a person, he's a great and upbeat type of young man that really is very, very positive. And to see him go from a walk-on trial to a starter to a national champion, and now being a significant contributor to our defense is huge. And for him to have that type of success, to have 3 interceptions in one particular half, I mean, it's basically unbelievable type numbers. So he works extremely hard. He thinks the game, and he deserves all of the accolades that he's getting at this particular time, as is the guys that are in front of him who are assisting him in those accolades.
For the 3rd week in a row, after struggling early against Tulane, and maybe in a different way this time, You guys set the tone.
Yeah, we did, and I thought defensively, they really came to play. They did a really good job of what we call bringing your own juice, and really getting after them, making it difficult for them to move the football. Like I said, there were maybe about 10 plays in there where they completed some balls that, we were in position, we just didn't make the play for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, we did a really good job of playing really good defense, and it's very difficult, to lose ball games when you're playing really good defense and not turning the ball over as much.
Is KK going to play this weekend?
He's a day-to-day decision, at this particular time. He was fine, once he got up, but we felt that we had enough power and juice, to kind of pull that game out without putting him back in the game. Plus, I wanted to get the younger kid in there and let him have a go at it, because he hasn't played as much as we would like him to play, and we wanted to see how he responded, to really having the offense, and the entire offense in his hand.
What did you see out of Jeremy Saturday? And if the scenario presents itself to where maybe Devontae can't go, did you see enough out of Jeremy to where you feel comfortable and letting him have the full reins like you just said, and letting him take that offense and go?
Yeah, we're comfortable with Jeremy. He's a great person on the field and also off the field. A very, very talented young man. Of course, he's going to need a little bit more help than a young man with the ability of Devontae Kincaid. I don't think we can necessarily put everything on his shoulders, but we do have to help him and aid him in his success, at such an early age, because he is a freshman. But he has the body. He can throw. He can run. He's probably not as much of a gifted runner as Devontae is, which not too many people are. But he has a chance to be a really good special football player. and a special quarterback, and not only that, a special leader, for our program.
Martez didn't play. That wasn't anything to do with injury?
Well, he's been nursing an ankle injury that he's been playing with for the last couple of weeks, and we felt that we had enough firepower in the backfield to really get through that particular football contest without him. He means so much to our offense, and he carries such a huge workload when it comes to us offensively that we wanted to try to get some other guys in there, which we have some good players in the backfield. So we had another 100-yard rusher, and another kid had 50-plus yards, and it was good to see 3 or 4 guys get in there and him get an opportunity to play in that particular football contest.
What about next week?
Next week, we're expecting to see him back in there. Want him to be sharp. This is a Clark Atlanta football team, which doesn't have much to do with a conference race for us, but it is a game that's important for us to be who we need to be once we get back into the conference race. So you'll see Martez back in the lineup. You'll see a number of other guys back in the lineup who haven't been in the lineup in the last couple of weeks. We've been, nursing a lot of injuries, a lot of nicks and bruises, and trying to get guys back. And a lot of guys have been getting opportunities to perform, and some of them have performed well, and others haven't performed as well as we would like them to. But the experience is the most important thing.
What do we know about Clark Atlanta?
Well, Clark Atlanta is it's a program that they can be scary. They're going to always have some guys that can run. They're going to have some playmakers, here, there, and we have to make sure that we play Grambling Tiger football in order to defeat them. They have a really good coaching staff, and they're going to be fundamentally sound, and they're going to play extremely hard, and they're going to be a blue collar type of football team that's going to be tough to play with. So we have to play our brand of football, and at the end of the day, the environment will be a lot different than last year's environment. So we're expecting a huge crowd and a great Tiger football performance.
Talk about why you play these games in Chicago.
Well, it's huge for us, because our national alumni base is so broad. We want to try our best at times every year or so to get in front of our alumni nationally. And we hadn't been to Chicago in a while, and Chicago has been so good not only to the athletic piece here, but also to our academic piece here. So we're wanting to get into each and every alumni base in order to, just continue to build that alumni base and brand. So we've been in California, we've been in Arizona, we're always in Alabama, we're always in Texas, we're always in, hopefully in Georgia. And we want to make trips to Florida and all those different places because there's large groups of people that have gone to school here that are living back in those communities.
How many kids on this year's rosters ever played a game inside Soldier Field?
You're looking at a coach that has never been inside Chicago Soldier Field, so it's I can't tell you. I don't think there's very many at all, but I do know that it's going to be exciting. Anytime you get an opportunity to to kind of be on a field where where the pros play, and be in the Windy City, so it's an exciting time for our young men, and it's something that's huge for them because you never know when they're going to get an opportunity to see something like that again. So the opportunity to play in a venue or be in a locker room where so many great people have played and are currently playing, is big for our program.
Talk about, is there something to be said about playing that game in Chicago, to maybe get the kids ready for Houston and Atlanta?
Well, absolutely. This team is a different team. In years past, we've had a lot of young men that have played in those huge venues. And this is probably, I know for a fact, this is our first huge venue of the year. And we're used to playing in 3 to 4 every year. So it'd be good, to get in this environment, to be able to understand, how things go. Seeing the ball in the background of these bleachers is a little different than seeing the ball in the background of, a home stadium or other stadiums that we go to. So it's going to be big, for us. It's different when you're catching a punt in these lights as opposed to here at our stadium or other conference stadiums, because there's going to be times this season where we're going to be asked to perform in those type of environments. So it's good to kind of get a loop in our belt this particular week and, put some young people out there and see how they respond, to all of it.
I know you guys took the kids, you said, to the B.B. King Museum.
Yeah.
First, talk a little bit about that.
Well, it was huge. It's something that I always look forward to, not only for our players but also for myself because I'm a history buff. And going to Indianola, which is right on the outskirts of Itta Bena, Mississippi, and getting an opportunity to learn a lot about Mr. B.B. King, the master of blues. It was big. And it showed our young people. When you set goals and you write those goals down, because goals not written down is really just a wish. So when you write those things down and you pursue them, you can overcome anything. And we learned a lot about the obstacles that he overcame, which is nothing new. We all know the obstacles that were going on at that particular time, in that part of the country. So it was good to learn. It was good to see his stone, his gravestone, and to get the opportunity to learn a lot about blues and that whole area.
Got anything planned for Chicago?
Right now, no. I think the stadium and being in the Chicago Bears stadium is probably big enough for us, at this particular time.
You just mentioned it. I mean, in terms of football venues across the country, there's a few that are probably more historical than Soldier Field. And you've got a lot of football savvy guys on your team.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the challenges of making sure, your team's not too amped up or too hyped up or, just too taken aback about where they are and what venue they're playing in this Saturday?
Well, I think we're past that point. That's something that you concern about in week one, or when you're playing in certain type of big games. I don't think the venue will cause that. I think normally it's game one where you're concerned about that, or when you've had a couple of weeks off, the excitement of getting back on the field. I don't think we're at that point. I think we've kind of settled into our place, and now it's just about practicing and executing and playing the right way on game day.
Clark Atlanta, well, they might be a pretty good football team. It's another game that you guys should win.
Mm-hmm.
Just like last week, how do you keep the guys focused?
Well, I don't know how you could not be focused because, in my opinion, we didn't play as well as we were capable of as a team, and my players heard that from me on yesterday. So not to take anything away from our defense was stellar, but as a team, in all three phases, we didn't play as well as we are capable of playing. And as you know, I always say it has nothing to do with our opponent. It has always more to do with us. It's not about the scoreboard. It's all about us. And we can win by 1 point, but if we're transitioning the right way on and off the field, playing the right way, then I'm extremely excited and extremely happy. And that's the only thing that really matters to me, is that we reach our full potential. And at this particular time, we're not, and we have to continue to work to do that in all three phases. I'm not just talking about, one phase, all three phases.
After the game, Sarah said to me, it looks like they lost.
Yeah.
They're all hanging their heads.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys won by 32?
Right.
Just talk about, what, and I know you've already kind of
Right.
brought that up, but why was everybody so somber after the game?
Well, we do a really good job at communicating with our players, and we communicate what the level and the bar is, and they know without us even saying anything to them, if they have reached that bar or not. So I think that's probably why you got a lot of looks that you were able to get from some of our players, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we don't take for granted when it comes to winning football games, because they are so hard to come by. So anytime you get a win, regardless of how it looks, you're to be, happy about it. And we are happy about it. But there's also that second phase where after the win, we come back and look at ourselves and look at ourselves in the mirror, as all of us do. And we try to figure out, what went wrong, because you want to try to correct mistakes now. And it's easier to correct mistakes when things are not, when you're winning games, as opposed to when things are not going as well. So we want to correct all those things so we can make sure that we're going in the right direction and make sure we continue winning football games.
You mentioned the inefficiencies in the red zone. Where you guys start to get that corrected to where you needed to be?
Well, it's more about, execution, guys being at practice and making sure that, that we know where the receivers are going to be, and the receivers know where the quarterback is going to place the ball, and the O-line knows what their responsibilities are. It's all of it. It's not just one part of it. That's the unique thing about the game of football is it's the ultimate team sport, and it's the ultimate life lesson teacher. So that's why we love it so much. But it starts with practice, and it starts tonight with us making sure that we are on the same page and know where the person is coming out of their breaks.
Going back to Devontae, what do you need to see out of him this week in order for him to play on Saturday?
Well, I think it's more. We need more toughness as an entire offensive unit, and I think we have to play with more passion. I thought we kind of lulled around a little bit offensively, and we kind of fell into the trap of the environment. And when you fall into that trap, you can get yourself in a situation that you can't get out of. The unique thing about it is the momentum stayed in our corner for the most part. Anytime they did do something positive, we were able to snatch the momentum right away from them. And I'm the type of person that never wants to relinquish, the momentum, because he who has the momentum wins the game. I've never seen a team win a football game without momentum. So I just want her on my side all the time.
Doing a couple feature stories for as we get into the bye week here.
Mm-hmm.
First, talk a little bit about Devontae's road here. I believe he was a 5A or a 5-star recruit out of Skyline,
Right.
and then to Ole Miss, and then to here. Just talk a little bit about what it means to have him in this program.
Well, it's huge, because it basically speaks to the nation that Grambling is okay to come to school, and Grambling is okay to play football, and Grambling is a place where you should send your son, and parents, it's okay for you to send your son here because of the level of talent of a kid like him. Then everyone can be interested in coming here and being successful, and he's had a stellar career here, and he's continuing to do that. And I think the thing that's been amazing is when you get signature players like a Devontae Kincaid in your program, it kind of propels you to the next level of recruiting. And it's no different with the Emmitt Smith Football Life piece. By him going to the University of Florida, all of a sudden, that was the foundation of everything that they did at the University of Florida with Steve Spurrier, and on to the Dallas Cowboys as well. So I think a lot of young people take notice of Devontae being here, and they kind of figure, okay, well, that must be the place to be. If it's good enough for him, then it should be good enough for me. So we're pleased with having him here. He's a very competitive player and a very talented young man. I just think we have to all play together in order to make sure that all of us are experiencing the success that we can have.
How did that relationship get started when he was ready to leave Ole Miss?
Well, in recruiting, we always recruit the Dallas area, as we also recruit several areas. Well, Devontae was a big-time recruit, so he's the type of young man that it's almost like dating. When Holly Berry is over there in the corner, and you're kind of a 2 and she's a 10, you just kind of tell her you're interested, and then you move on. You don't waste much time because you don't think that you'll have a chance. So he was one of those type of players where it's, hey, one phone call, hey, man, we love to have you. We understand that you have all of these big-time schools after you, but we're going to move on. Just know that we're there. And I'll be doggone if it didn't come back around, in a couple of years. We were throwing the ball extremely well at the time with Jonathan Williams and playing really good offensively. And his high school coach was going to Ole Miss to see him play and stopped and watched us play against Jackson one week and saw the amount of yards that were being put up. And then we also play in Dallas, which is big, and they were able to see us perform. So it became a perfect fit because Jonathan was leaving as a graduate, and we needed someone to fill that void. So it's just one of those situations. We try not to waste too much time with those Miss Americas, but sometimes they do come back to you.